Every other person on social media is talking about parenting. There are so many books, so many videos. We are so confused. What is right and what is wrong? Parenting has become so stressful. If you are somebody who feels like that, then this video is for you. I am Riri Trivedi. I am a regression therapist and a parenting coach. And today I am going to be talking about the 8th guideline of positive parenting, which is seek balance. Today what is happening is there is an overload of information. There are so many people from different fields talking about parenting, what you should do, should not do, and parents are so confused because ultimately what happens is that as far as parenting is concerned, there can be no fixed rule because every child is unique, every family is unique, and every family has a unique culture, a certain family dynamics and a family system that needs to be followed. So whenever people are giving tips on, well, if this happens, you should do this, and this is how you should reply, and this is how you should deal with it, it is important for parents to understand that whatever information you get on parenting should be kept in the background as a guideline, and ultimately you need to do for your child what works for you. A lot of parents write to me asking me very, very specific details. It's almost like they want me to handhold them through every single day of the parenting journey, which is really not possible. Remember, parenting cannot be taught in books. Hence, in all these years, there has been no university, no course, and no curriculum on parenting, because it is a relationship between a parent and a child, and this relationship is unique between every parent and child. So having a fixed framework, having fixed rules, if this happens, this has to be done, that is really not possible. However, guidelines is what we need to keep in mind to avoid certain obvious mistakes that we might be doing, and to make sure that we keep some broad structure in place in order to have our child be more emotionally resilient and to make our parenting journey less stressful. So remember, if parenting videos are adding stress to your parenting journey, then first of all, please do not see those. Secondly, if you are watching this video and you haven't seen the past 7 guidelines, then please make sure you see those 7 guidelines that I have shared on positive parenting, because these are guidelines, they are a framework, they are not strict rigid rules and regulations, but these guidelines I have shared with you are meant to give you a certain direction in your parenting journey. They do not prescribe, but they just give a direction which can help you to navigate your parenting journey. And even within those guidelines, please use what works for you and discard the rest. The last and the 8th guideline of positive parenting that I want to share with you today is seeking balance. Remember, in any parenting journey, balance is very important. No extreme style can work, because here we are dealing with human beings, we are dealing with children, we are dealing with parents, and hence it is important to find that balance between all those things that you are coming across and the information that you are navigating through. Balance also gets affected because parents are ultimately also being affected by their own childhood experiences, and parents' own childhood experiences have a huge impact on their parenting journey. And childhood experiences can make parenting styles very extreme. Let me share with a few examples. So one young lady came to me saying that in her childhood she grew up with both her parents who were doctors, and both the parents were very busy, they had no time for this girl. So of course she grew up very independent, always alone but very independent, go-getter, achiever, perfectionist, and the parents always appreciated her for being highly independent child. But she knew that she grew up with a lot of emotional neglect and she felt unloved. Now when she became a mother, she went to the other extreme parenting style, which was she became an over-caring and an over-involved parent. So she would literally helicopter over her child, and every moment in her child's growing up years, she had to spend and be with the child. So what has happened here? Her own childhood experiences has caused a polarity and made her into an extremely over-involved helicopter parent. I'll give you a second example. One father came to me saying that I grew up with a father who was very, very authoritarian, very disciplinarian. He would keep hitting me with a belt every other day, and he was so authoritative that I had no say in my life. And even my career choices were decided by my father. So he forced me to go into engineering, which I didn't want to go to, etc., etc. So this man grew up with extreme fear and hatred of his father. Now, when he became a father to a son, he took the other extreme. Because he didn't want his son to go through what he went through, he gave all the freedom to his child. So he told me that my son has all the freedom in the world. Whatever he wants in his life, whatever he touches, I will buy that for him. If he doesn't want to study, I have given him the full freedom that he doesn't need to study, he doesn't need to do his homework, because my business is there, I can take care of him. So here what we have seen is, because this parent does not want his child to suffer like he did, he has taken an extreme parenting style of being extremely permissive. In both the stories, or not stories, real life case studies, you see how our own childhood experiences can really impact the way we parent, and that is where we forget that a balance is required. We are oftentimes driven into extreme parenting styles because of our own fears and phobias as well. I had one mother come to me. She said as a child, she grew up with a lot of body image issues. She was fat, she was dark, she was body shamed, and she was not even good in study. So she was constantly bullied, humiliated by the teachers, by the students, by her family. So she grew up with a lot of inferiority complex, low confidence, low self-worth, and she felt she was completely useless. Now, when she became a mother, she did not want her child to go through what she did. From the beginning, she made sure that her daughter was always well dressed, very good in studies, ate the right kind of food, and again, she became an extremely authoritarian parent, a very, very overindulgent parent, to the point of being emotionally abusive, just because she wanted to make sure her daughter doesn't suffer the way she did in school. So she had to make sure that her daughter did not have inferiority complex, did not have bullying issues, was good in studies, she had a good skin, she had good body, etc. But in the process, she did not realize that she was actually bordering on abuse, and the daughter was absolutely unhappy. The daughter saw this mother as an extremely oppressive, authoritarian mother, and there was no connection between them at all. So in all these examples, you see that it is extremely important as parents that if we want to seek balance, if we want to have a balanced parenting style, it is very important to understand and recognize our own childhood experiences that may be clouding our judgment, may be impacting our parenting style. I will also like to share my own personal example. So when I was growing up, my mother was a working parent, and I would come from school always to open the door by myself. There would be nobody at home because my mom used to work till 7:30. So as a little child, I used to always remember opening the door of my house, coming home alone to an empty house, putting together my own snack, eating my own snack, managing my own homework, and waiting for my mom alone till she came back in the evening at 7:30. While all my other friends' mothers used to wait for them at the door with a hot snack. They would take the child's bag, hug them, invite them in the house, give them hot snack, ask them how was the day. And I always throughout my childhood missed this. So when I became a parent to my own children, I made sure that under any circumstances, I would always be at home for them when they came back from school. It almost became a compulsion. So even if I worked, I did part-time work, I did flexi-time work to make sure that when they came home, I was always there. Again, this was because of my own childhood experience that made me do this. Much later, when my children grew up and became teenagers, I asked them, did they really need me to be there every single day? And they said, no, it was absolutely fine. They really did not need me every single day. So again, remember, as parents, it is extremely important to seek that balance in whatever approach we take. If you haven't seen my video on parenting styles and the effect of parenting styles on children, please make sure you watch that video where I have described the 4 types of parenting styles and why the authoritative or the balanced parenting style is important, and what is that authoritative or balanced parenting style. So that balanced style is what we all need to go towards. However, we will find it very, very hard to do that if we ourselves have not healed our past traumas and if we have not regulated ourselves. So a lot of parents come to me saying, we have read all parenting books, we know that we should behave in a certain way, we know that when our children are aggressive and throwing a tantrum, we should back off, we should stay calm, we should be balanced. But when we are triggered, when we are stressed, all that wisdom flies out of the window. And hence, if we want to follow a balanced parenting style or do all the positive things that we are learning in parenting videos or books, then the most important thing is to self-regulate ourselves. If we are regulated, if we are balanced, if our nervous system is in a state of regulation and balance, only then can we adopt the balanced parenting style. Because if we have a history of trauma, if you have been, shouted at, scolded, beaten, physically, emotionally, sexually abused or bullied as a child, there is a high likelihood that you may be highly volatile or highly triggered. And whenever you are triggered, it is impossible to maintain a balance, because that is when your child will press all your hot buttons, and that is when you will completely lose track of all the positive parenting guidelines, and you will be hijacked by your triggers. So as parents, remember that the best way, even if you don't listen to any videos on parenting, you don't read any books, you don't follow any guidelines, if you just try to keep balance, that itself is good. Balance means not any extreme style, not too authoritarian, not too disciplinarian, not very controlling, and at the same time not very permissive, not very lenient, and not negligent also. So these are the two extreme approaches. The answer is somewhere in between, where you have a good mix of discipline, of warmth, of being receptive to the child's needs, and at the same time being firm about the rules and regulations of the house and incorporating that firmness with your child. So remember that seeking balance in whatever approach you take is most important, and parenting is all about finding that balance. It is about recognizing your own trauma baggage that you're carrying that may be impacting your approach towards your child. If you have a fear of dogs and your child is with you, your child will recognize your body changing every time you are in front of a dog, and your child might pick up your own fear. Remember, you have a fear because you may be bitten by a dog, but your child does not have to have your fear of dogs. But the child will unconsciously pick up. So it is important as parents to heal our own past traumas, to work on our fears and phobias, to work on our triggers or all those things that are causing us to be dysregulated or imbalanced. And once we do that, our parenting journey is going to be much more smooth, much more fun, and much more effective. Today, a very common concern that I see amongst parents is that all parents are today also seeking perfection. That whole need for perfectionism that we all as a generation have grown up with is also coming down in parenting. And because parents are seeking perfection in everything, there is a lot of stress, there is a lot of imbalance. So parents are aspiring to be perfect parents, and they are aspiring to raise perfect children, and this is absolutely impossible, because we are not dealing with machines, we are dealing with human beings. So remember, when I talk of seeking balance, I'm also saying do not seek perfection. You will never get it right every single day. There will be few days when you will not get it right, there will be few days when you will not follow the guidelines, there will be few days when you will lose your cool and do something you didn't like to do. But remember, that is a part of being human, that is a part of being normal, that is also balance. So next day morning, start afresh. Okay, do not build stress in your parenting journey by trying to make sure every single day you have been the perfect mother and your child has been the perfect child, because seeking perfection itself can be extremely stressful. So seeking balance also includes accepting the mistakes, accepting the flaws and the mishaps that you might have during your parenting journey, and accepting that our child may not follow any of the outcomes that we have decided for them, and we may not be able to follow some of the rules either, and it is okay, right? Ultimately, if you look at the long term, the wider perspective, it all falls in place if by and large you have been following the right track and you have been seeking balance. Remember, a balanced parenting style is linked to children who are emotionally resilient. It is also connected to children who do better at school, children who have least likelihood of becoming drug addicts. So all this again is based on research. All this research as well as more details on the parenting style is available on my YouTube video on parenting style, so make sure you watch that. I hope you found this video useful. With this 8th guideline, we come to an end of all the guidelines of positive parenting that I have shared with you. In the subsequent videos, I will be sharing more age-specific challenges that you will face as parents and some suggestions on how you can deal with it. Remember what I said, there is no fixed rule on what you can do and cannot do, should do and should not do, but there are only guidelines that you need to follow as parents. And the most important direction will come from within you. Every parent from within knows what is right and wrong for the child. Only because of their unhealed past, they are unable to follow or implement that knowing. So when you heal yourself, the knowing will automatically emerge and will guide your parenting journey.